Hello everybody, this is Nick representing the Pew Family Foundation, and here's some thoughts on the meeting coming up for Saturday. So vision. Well, let me say as a new guy coming late to this organization and looking back on the past, I think the past did at least two really neat things. One is it recognized that Lafayette Parish had a problem in its education system. And in order to solve that, it recruited and arm twisted and got him appointed as a superintendent. And for that, the founders of this organization ought to be extremely proud. In my view, Dr. Pat Cooper is exactly the guy that's needed to come in and help make Lafayette a fantastic education system. So what now? Well, this is my vision or my experience, having been here about a year, is that I haven't been very effective. I can't say that I really made a difference in affecting the ongoing or the future of the education system. But I've been learning this year, and this organization has been a great resource to help me understand and think about the future. So what should we do in the following year? Here are my thoughts. First of all, we ought to be a scout. We ought to be out ahead of Dr. Cooper, looking down the road and identifying those landmines and those doo-doo piles that are very likely to come up in the next year. We ought to advise him how to get around these landmines and give him our best advice on whether to plow under them, dig under them, jump over them, or just run through them. And what is very passionate to me is that education in the past several centuries hasn't changed a lot. So, but things are now beginning to change very rapidly. And as we travel, we ought to seek for new ways or new innovations in education and do the best we can to get them implemented here. So where are the landmines? Here are my views on the things, the obstacles that Pat will come up in the following year. First of all, we know he enjoys a very narrow margin on the council, and the council, to the throwbacks of the mid-19th century, is the old Polish jury system, where the jurors thought it was their duty to bring patronage to the constituents in their precincts. Unfortunately, this time is fast past. We need to constantly remind the school board that they're a governing board, and they should not micromanage our superintendent. Specifically, they ought to allow him, with the exception of the 2 or 3 top lieutenants on his team, they should let him determine who's on his team. That includes principals, janitors, maintenance guys, and Pat should be the sole determiner of the qualifications for that position, understanding that he has to deal with civil service and tenure. So I think we can influence those school board members, and we should. The next huge landmine I see ahead for Dr. Cooper is that, and I think I'm correct, although my sample size is rather narrow, he does not have the teachers on his side yet. And it's been my experience in running a business, until your employees are in full alignment and agree and understand what your goals and principles are and the means you're going to get there, your chances of succeeding are diminished. And I think there's a huge problem in that the teachers are not fully aware, on board, for one reason or another, something is not correct. And also, we've heard Pat mention many times about site management, i.e. those principals are in charge, and if they're going to be in charge, they got to show that leadership. They've got to get those teachers on their team. And for some reason, in my view, that's not happening. We ought to think and talk a little bit about this and ask Pat what he'd like us to do about that. And the next landmine I see coming up is if and when to ask for new taxes. This is a divisive issue, and the way you propose it and the time you do it is important. So guys, this is what my thoughts are. If you disagree with me, I learned. So long from Nick.